Veterans Day by Halie and Ela. This poppy flower is a symbol of veterans. How did Veterans Day start? Treaty was signed on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918. Who started it? President Wilson made Armistice Day a legal holiday in 1919. What is the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day? Memorial Day is to honor those who died in the war and is celebrated on the fourth Monday in May. And Veterans Day is to honor veterans who lived through the war and is celebrated on the 11th of November. Why do we have Veterans Day? To honor veterans who lived through the war. What does the rest of the world call Veterans Day? The rest of the world calls Veterans Day Remembrance Day. What are the branches of the military? They are the Air Force, Navy, Army, Coast Guard, and Marine Corps. As a tradition, it was as the U.S. President lay at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Every November 11th, the U.S. President lays a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. In 1954, President Eisenhower legally changed the holiday to Veterans Day so we can honor all who served in all American wars. Did you know the holiday was on the fourth Monday in October? In 1975, President Ford moved the holiday back to November 11th. This is a stand-in interview for Ella's grandpa. Your veteran's name? David Haynes. How are they related to you? Grandpa. What branch of service were they in? Navy. When did they serve? How many years? 3. Where were they drafted or volunteered? Volunteered. What part of the U.S. world? Which part of the U.S. or world did they serve in? Southeast Asia. What conflict did they serve in? Vietnam. What was their job or assignment while they were in the military? Gunners, patrol craft, fast, swift boats, coastal division 15. Do you have any other memories or stories you want to share? The division collected money to build and painted a schoolhouse for Vietnamese children to learn, and each crew had 1 officer and 5 enlisted. Grandpa was in the top gunner trade. Ella is going to share about her grandfather. He served in the U.S. Navy. That's him sitting on sandbags that stop the bullets. That's him standing behind those gun things. That's him. That's his crew. That's their shower. They have 50-gallon tanks on the top with salt water. And they raised money to build a school. And his crew used to live in little hut-type things, and those were ladies who cleaned it. A junk boat is like, I guess you could say it's a bad boat, but a swift boat, what she worked on, would go over to a junk boat and look for illegal weapons. That's just 2 pictures of people. That was my grandpa's friend who got lost in the at sea. That's his ribbon. That's his swift boat pin. This is his dog tag.
And that's my grandpa David Haynes.
And that's my grandpa David Haynes. Here's the first veteran that Halie interviewed. Speak louder. U.S. Army. How many years did you serve? What year?
66 through 70.
Did you volunteer or were you drafted?
I volunteered.
Did you serve during conflict?
Yes, Vietnam.
Can you tell us a little about what your job was while you served?
I'm sorry. A little bit about my
Can you tell us a little about what your job was while you
Oh, okay. I actually had 2 jobs. I was in petroleum, and my first job was I drove a tanker and hauled helicopter fuel. It was a tactical 18-wheeler. A little different than the ones they have over here, the commercial jobs. This one is for running over really rough roads and rough terrain. And then my second job, I was a machine gunner on the Jeep.
What do you think of veterans?
I think that it's very nice that America honors its veterans. Freedom is not free, and without people that are willing to fight for our country, there would be someone or some country that would be want to take it away from us.
What kind of gear did you use?
I'm sorry, say it again.
What kind of gear did you use?
Gear. Oh, gear did you use? Okay. Well, when I drove the tractor trailer, the tanker, of course I carried an M16 in it with me and the ammo. And again, it was an 18-wheeler, hauled helicopter fuel out to the boondocks, out to the fire bases and such. We had jungle fatigues, which was a little different. You had the fabric boots and stuff. Up until then, they had the leather. And then when I was machine gunner on the Jeep, then it was an M60 machine gun mounted on a stand. And I just rode in the back of the Jeep, and there was 2 gentlemen, the driver in the front, and another gentleman set off to the side. And that's what we did. And our job was to protect convoys, because whenever we went, it was convoys of fuel and ammunition, artillery rounds, things like that. So we had a lot of support, being that we had tanks, APCs, which is one of the parts of the personnel carriers. We had helicopters flying over the top of us, cobras, observers, and stuff. We had a lot of protection because part of what our convoys consisted of.
How do you feel about being a veteran?
I'm proud of it.
Thank you. Here's the second veteran that Halie interviewed. What is your name?
Dennis Clay,
Can you tell us what branch you served in?
Marine Corps.
How many years did you serve? What years?
6 years, but from 74 to 80.
Did you volunteer or were you drafted?
Volunteer.
Did you serve during conflict?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little about what your job was while you served?
I was in electronics. I fixed radars.
What do you think of Veterans Day?
I think it's great. They started this back up right after World War I. So,
What kind of gear did you use?
what kind of gear? Just regular gear, helmet, and backpacks, and rifles.
How do you feel about being a veteran?
I enjoy it. It was a good part of my life, and it's shaped my life.
Here is the veteran that Matthew interviewed for Halie.
Gary Collins,
Can you tell us what branch you served in?
United States Air Force.
How many years did you serve?
4. I served 4 years. That's not scary. I served from 1963 to 1967. I bet you wasn't even born yet.
Did you volunteer
I volunteered.
Did you serve during a conflict?
Yes?
Can you tell us a little about what your job was while you served?
Sure, I was a radio operator. What I did was take, you know what Morse code is, right? You know what Morse code, I could take Morse code over the radio, and I would write down, I would type the messages that the enemies sent. And then I gave them to people to break the code. That's what I did.
What do you think of veterans?
What do I think of it? Well, I think it's nice. I think it's nice that people respect veterans.
What kind of gear did you use?
What kind of gear? Well, I didn't carry a gun. I had big radios that were mounted in consoles that were bigger than you were. You had big knobs on them, and you had an antenna that covered a quarter of a mile. You know, and we could pick up stuff. When I was in Italy for a year and a half, and I could listen to a Boston radio station, Boston, Massachusetts, from Italy. That's pretty good radios.
How do you feel about being a veteran?
I'm proud of it. Is that it?
Here are our citations.